Why hasn't mainstream media covered the Tom DeLonge To the Stars Academy press conference? I did a search on Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC, and nothing came up about it at all. And then I did a search for the 2010 UFO conference held by ex-military personnel who worked at nuke facilities, as well as I looked up the 2013 Citizen Hearing on Disclosure, which was a mock hearing of witnesses of the UFO phenomena. And both of these events were actually covered by mainstream media. So why is the Tom DeLonge event not being covered by mainstream media? My guess is because the intelligence communities actually do not want DeLonge's press conference to be covered by the mainstream media quite yet. And actually, there is a history of the CIA having a big influence on the media. This was actually discovered with the revelation of Operation Mockingbird. According to Wikipedia, Operation Mockingbird was an alleged large-scale program of the United States Central Intelligence Agency that began in the early 1950s and attempted to manipulate news media for propaganda purposes. It funded student and cultural organizations and magazines as front organizations. According to writer Deborah Davis, Mockingbird recruited leading American journalists into a propaganda network and oversaw the operations of front groups. CIA support of front groups was exposed after a 1967 Ramparts magazine article reported that the National Student Association received funding from the CIA. In the 1970s, congressional investigations and reports also revealed agency connections with journalists and civic groups. According to YouTuber Mark Dice, after the congressional investigations, former CBS President Sid Mickelson was asked if reporters still work for CIA. He said, yeah, they probably do, but that a reporter would have to be much more circumspect because of the revelations of the 1970s. So my point is that the intelligence communities definitely have the capabilities of influencing what gets covered and what doesn't. Regarding the DeLonge announcement, I have literally concluded there are only one of two possibilities. In scenario one, we are indeed on the verge of disclosure. I mean, a former head of a secret program in the DoD came out in the open and said, yes, UFOs are real. In scenario two, this whole To the Stars Academy press conference is a psyops engineered by the intelligence communities. They will never show any evidence that UFOs exist as they promised that they would, or when they do show the footage that they promised they will show, it will be extremely lame. And this would actually discredit the UFO phenomena. I believe it's either scenario one or scenario two, and that there is no in between. And I believe scenario one, an official rollout of disclosure, is far more likely than scenario two, this being a elaborate psyop by the intelligence communities. I will go so far as saying that the UFO community is simply not taking this as seriously as they should. In fact, I saw something on the Jimmy Church podcast. A couple days ago, he was interviewing Richard Dolan, and Richard Dolan seemed to know nothing about the To the Stars Academy press conference, and by the way he was talking about it, I honestly don't believe he's even watched it. Leslie Kane, who totally gets the significance of the press conference, wrote on October 11th, a message for my friends here. Folks, I'm concerned that some of you are missing the point. The head of a secret UFO program at the DoD has just come forward to confirm the existence of that program. Based on the work of this official program, he has stated for the world to hear that UFOs are unquestionably real. He left that program less than 2 weeks ago. This is as close to official disclosure as we have come since the close of Project Blue Book. It's big news. If the truth is that it is scenario two, that the To the Stars Academy press conference is a engineered psyop by the intelligence community, then I would have thought that the mainstream media would have covered it by now to create anticipation, so that when the Academy never releases any UFO footage and breaks their promise that they were going to do so, or they do release the footage but it's really, really lame, it would have a more catastrophic effect on the whole UFO phenomena because it was previously covered by the mainstream media and created a lot of anticipation. And yet the media has not covered it at all. Just for people who are not aware, let's take a very quick peek at the stature of the team of To the Stars Academy. It's insane. Jim Semivan is a career spy for the CIA who currently is a consultant for the CIA. Dr. Hal Puthoff's professional background spans more than 5 decades of research at General Electric, Sperry, the National Security Agency, Stanford University, and SRI International. Dr. Puthoff regularly advises NASA, the Department of Defense, and intelligence communities, corporations, and foundations on leading-edge technologies and future technology trends. Steve Justice was Program Director for Advanced Systems at Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and has had a 31-year career with them. Lou Elizondo has worked for just about every alphabet agency. For nearly the last decade, Lou also ran a sensitive aerospace threat identification program for the DoD, focusing on unidentified aerial technologies. Chris Mellon served 20 years in the federal government, including as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence in the Clinton and Bush administrations. In addition, he's worked many years on Capitol Hill, including as the Minority Staff Director of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. In case you didn't notice, 2 out of the 5 members I mentioned currently consults other intelligence agencies. Beyond all this, Tom DeLonge is a huge rock star, which makes the whole story that much more interesting, and yet the mainstream media still has not covered this story. Very strange. Here is my prediction. No later than the end of 2018, official disclosure will occur. Moreover, I also predict that when To the Stars Academy releases the military-grade footage of the UFOs, there are going to be people within the US government and other governments around the world perhaps that are going to discuss the UFO subject. And these people will not be retired either. The last thing I want to share is a Facebook post by Tom DeLonge, shared on November 15th. To the Stars official will be releasing military videos of UFOs on a website tasked with coordinating discussion, study, and disclosure of this information in partnership with governments. These are proof of concept, and To the Stars plans to be building this technology with a major aerospace company soon. Invest now. What is DeLonge referencing when he says governments in the plural? Perhaps disclosure will be a multinational effort, and perhaps there will be footage from multiple militaries and not just the United States military that's going to be released. That would be spectacular. There was a video that was actually attached to this Facebook post. Roll the clip.
That's not LNS stuff, is it? It's not. I do have it on us. Well, if there's anything, it's frustrating.
It's hard to make out what was said in that audio, but I did hear someone say, "Look at that thing," in exasperation, as if they were pointing out a UFO. Is this audio from military personnel spotting a UFO, and is there video footage to go along with it? Perhaps this is a foreshadowing by Tom DeLonge of one of the videos that is going to be released by his team, proving the UFO presence essentially. If you enjoyed this video, I hope that you will subscribe. And I would love if you left a comment telling me anything you think I should know, just as I've told you things that I think you should know. And I look forward to seeing you in a post-disclosure world.